Yuvraj century at the Chepauk. We have seen this somewhere, didn't we? Back in 2011, it was Yuvraj Singh who scored a sensational century against West Indies here at the 2011 ODI World Cup. Cut to 2026 T20 World Cup, we have Yuvraj Samra of Canada wearing the maple leaf over his chest, scoring a sensational 100 against a top nation like New Zealand. However, his turn went in vain thanks to Phillips and Rachin Ravindra's sensational partnership to bring New Zealand to the Super 8s of the T20 World Cup here. Choosing to bat first, Canada came here to bat. Dilpreet Bajwa and Yuvraj Samra coming on. They put on a very strong show, especially with Yuvraj, who's being the aggressor. Especially sending Jimmy Neesham for three fours and a six. And when he scored the 50, everyone thought, okay, it'll stop up in a 50. But then he kept continuing. He upped the gears and kept going. And the way he swung the bat also kind of reminded people here of Yuvraj Singh, who was the hero in India's win of the 2011 World Cup. But when it came to the 100, it was off Kylie Jamieson, who comes in for Lockie Ferguson, who's on paternity leave. So off Jamieson's ball, Samra had cut the shot, which had gone to the third man, and then it went to four. And then to see him punch his fists in the air, and the crowd, which is over 15,000 people standing up and applauding for that century, was another big moment here in the stadium, which is already gaining fame for gathering such crowds for such non-India matches and associate teams matches. So this is again a big knock for Yuvraj Samra, and he has said that this knock will change his life, and for that matter, his knock will definitely be watched on by many people, and definitely his performances will be assessed in the further months, and probably he might get himself a contract in one of a big fan franchise. So coming to Canada's innings, they posted a very good competitive total of 173 for 4. With Yuvraj Samra being the front runner with that century, but it was in the bowling where they had let themselves down in with the ball. Out of the 14 extras that they conceded, 11 of them came out of wide. That's almost 2 overs, just runs being conceded. I'm pretty sure the team management will be concerned with it going forward. So otherwise, Finn Allen and Tim Seifert, who opened, were expected to put on a strong show like they did a few weeks ago when they beat UAE with that record partnership. But that was not to be when Saad bin Zafar, the spinner, as well as Dylan Hayliger came on and inflicted a brief moment of chaos for New Zealand as they were at 30 for 2. And it looked for a second that Canada were going to rather cause an upset, like how Zimbabwe had done it, but that was not to be, as Rachin Ravindra, credits to him, coming off a very rough patch. He's put on a very composed knock to give himself confidence ahead of a very crucial Super 8 stage where they're set to play matches in Sri Lanka. So him and Phillips just complemented each other. Rachin being someone who is making the strokes, and Phillips who is rather going all the way with his aggression. And they didn't seem to wait. They didn't seem to take their time. They seemed to rush. Not rush in terms of recklessly, but scoring runs in no time. Almost 16-17 overs in, they were already 2 or 3 runs away from the win. So again, they've shown their batting depth again in this match, albeit against an associate nation like Canada. But their batting depth have come to the rescue again, unlike it was in South Africa, where most of their batting basically collapsed, and that cost their loss. So going forward for New Zealand, sailing Super 8s, and that's probably curtains in Group D. And for Afghanistan, who are expected to be a dark horse team in this World Cup, but it was not to be for them. And for the next match, it's just Afghanistan and Canada rounding off Group D here in Chepauk. So for Afghanistan, it's curtains, and they only have pride to play with. So this is what has happened here, and thank you so much for tuning in to this episode, and I'll see you in the next match.